Okay, so we're with Tasha today. If y'all remember back in the beginning of the school year, we met with Michelle and Tasha. We are doing separate episodes today, but I'm very excited about it. Tasha's one of my homeschool besties. We met years ago, and life took us other places, and then God's kind of brought us back as friends again. She always makes me feel so encouraged. But in the past year, she was enrolling her son in public school, and then with COVID and everything going on, he continued to distance learn for the past year.
Yes.
And I really wanted y'all to see how she handled it. We don't really want to get into the whys. It doesn't really matter. But she has his special needs. She's done fabulous. And I think she's very encouraging, and I think you'll enjoy. She can show y'all her setup and give y'all some ideas. So how'd your year go?
It was filled with lots of surprises, but that's kind of par for the course of having kids, whether they have special needs or not. But the year went well.
It went good.
The year went better than what I was anticipating. Just I schooled Nick from home. Between hospital visits, 4 surgeries, and
I know there's been a lot this year.
Yes.
But he's made such strides.
Oh my gosh, he
even with the surgeries and everything.
Yes, he learned how to write his name.
I was so proud of him.
Most of it, he knows how to write his first name. Most of his last name. We have one more letter to work on, and just drawing, and
he's just amazing.
This guy's the limit, honestly.
I know. He's just a miracle.
He really is. I mean, I don't even know what to say because I'm like so amazed.
And he has such a good support system with his mom. He's just done fabulous.
Thank you. I'm glad I have people in my corner like you. Honestly.
Always. And that may be one of the surprising things. I have moms I work with who have, I'm not against any mom just because she chooses public schooling. Things happen, and you have to roll with the punches.
Right.
And I'm for every mom. I love homeschooling. If I could make everybody homeschool, I probably would try because I love it and I've seen the benefit, but I also know it doesn't always work, and sometimes there's reasons, and it's okay. So, and you've done fabulous with the distance learning. He is going back to campus next year, though.
He is. He is going back to the school campus next year, and I think even though I was not planning on homeschooling him this past year, it was a blessing in disguise.
I think it was.
Because
he made leaps and bounds.
He made leaps and bounds. I had no idea he'd have 4 surgeries.
Yeah.
And other hospital visits, and even aside from those surgeries, not COVID, but just other things pertaining to his diagnosis.
It was not COVID related.
Yeah, it was not COVID related at all. But he is now prepared, and I feel like he is equipped to go into the school system and thrive.
So I'd like the mamas to see some of your setup with what you've got, because I think it's so interesting, and so often when people think about homeschooling or distance learning or public school at home, it's like it boggles their mind how to set up, and you've got such a cute way to set up. I'm a little jealous. I don't have a homeschool room. I just have a homeschool closet, which is going to be another episode. I promised somebody I would take it. But I'm always a little jealous when somebody has space, because it can take over your whole house.
It can take over your whole house, and it's taken over most of my living room, but I wasn't using it for anything else, so honestly, it worked out.
Okay, so I'm going to get the camera and fix it, so I'm going to go off, and she's going to go on, and we're going to show y'all some stuff. Okay. So, let's see. Wrong way. So, this is the kitchenette, not the kitchenette, but the little dining table area. But we're going to go over this way. I'm learning this machine, trying not to, sorry guys, it's a learning environment. Okay, how does your day start?
Typically our day starts, Nick gets up and he'll come over to this table here. we like to, excuse me, we like to open the blinds on a typical day so he can see how it looks outside. But he comes over to this table and he writes his name. I have different activities in the drawers, and so we'll pull. Sometimes he writes his name on a piece of paper. Sometimes he writes it on a board, like where there's an erasable board. It just depends on how he wants to do it that day.
Okay.
So he'll sit here, and that's what he does. When we leave there from writing his name, he'll come over here to the calendar.
I'm learning how to do this thing.
It still says June, but we'll come over here and we'll just talk about what day of the week it is, the month, and what year.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes to put a star on the day. I'll show you an example from. We don't make it every day, but
so there's
he'll put a star of his choice. He likes to decide on the color.
Nice.
So we'll put a star on there, and we talk about what today is, what was yesterday, and what's tomorrow.
I love that. At least my Lacey needs that because she doesn't. She'll say that that yesterday after yesterday after yesterday. She's not sure how, and I'll have to repeat to her. You say, you mean last week?
Yes.
So they're so fun.
And in between little assignments, he likes to do something fun. So I've discovered things that are fun where he's still working on other skills.
Awesome.
So these cups just happen to be in here, but sometimes we go to another room and he'll build cup towers.
Fun.
But these are here right now, so he might build a big cup tower here. Mm-hmm. And then we'll go to a different table. I kind of have the table set up to do
almost
different
like centers,
things.
yeah.
Almost like centers, just so he's moving around and he's not sitting in the same place.
It kind of moves things mentally too.
Yes.
Kind of gives a transition.
Yes, so we can go into another room or move somewhere else in here. And he likes having, I meant to mention, he likes having this up because we talk about the weather as well.
Yeah.
So he can determine.
And it's so pretty outside. It's such a nice view. So what else have y'all got?
Let's see, we'll come over here.
Let's see.
I don't have necessarily in this particular one, but I have letters in here. And since we were working on writing his name last year, I would have the letters in here that were pertinent to his name. And so this is just something different to fill, that he had to spell his name with the letters.
Nice.
And so I may pull down one or two of these canisters.
Yeah. Or
buckets.
Yes.
Yeah. 2 of these buckets, and he would have to do something from it. So that's one. Another one working on fine motor skills. You take these out and put them around here, and then take them back off and just put them in. These are just like, we may not do them all at one time, but it's in between things.
Yeah, things to just it kind of gives a transition and breaks it up. I love the little.
It does.
Look, I love the little ends. She's got one on the wall too. I love them.
For his name. Let's see. There's more letters. And this one there's a puzzle.
Oh,
and
it's
the
a
puzzle
puzzle.
has like 24 to 48 pieces, and so for Nick, repetition is important. And so him being able to do this, even if it's for 30
puzzles,
days.
believe it or not, puzzles are part of math skills.
Really?
Yes, puzzles are part of math skills. It's like almost it's fine motor skills too, but fine motor skills and gross motor skills are considered part of math.
Okay. Being able to do this by himself, even after a couple of times, it just builds his confidence. And I think with the special needs he has and the challenges that he even knows he has, these are definitely, I've set these up to be like confidence boosters for him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And,
that's a good idea.
And doing them repetitively. When he's done with his work, I like to put him up on a board in here just so he can see it. So this is something where it was patterns. He had to put what would come next. And he also got a chance to work with glue. We date everything so we can see our progress from the beginning
progression.
to the end.
Look, he's working on his name.
Yes. So
I'm so proud of him.
Just little things. This past year I discovered he liked tic-tac-toe. So
so we would play tic-tac-toe, and then I thought, well, I can teach him how to write the letters X and O using tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
So he was doing that and learning the game at the same time.
That's good.
So,
I love that.
He likes, this is a picture that he drew. Initially at the beginning of the year, he had a hard time seeing in his mind
How to draw the picture?
How to draw a face.
Yeah.
And where the eyes are supposed to be in relation to the nose and to the mouth. And so this is him drawing from memory and just, learning.
I love it.
The eyes go here, the nose goes here.
You discovered something interesting when he started drawing with YouTube this year.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It was major breakthrough.
Yes, so we discovered that the YouTube tutorials that teach you how to draw. He started watching a YouTube tutorial and drew Captain Underpants. That looks just like Captain Underpants.
I know. I saw that picture. It was awesome.
So when he's drawing something from memory, while it might look like the picture I just showed you, he looked at this YouTube tutorial and he drew Captain Underpants.
That is amazing.
Like it's a real picture of Captain Underpants. Like,
that is amazing. I'm so proud of him.
Me too. And then he likes to sit over here too. Sometimes I'll laminate some of the things he does. I have more stuff, but I've cleaned up some of the things from here.
What is summer?
This right here, he loves beads. This is also like a fine motor skill. And so we'll use pipe cleaners. And he just likes to put different kind of beads on them. And sometimes he says he's making bracelets like for his sisters or for his friends. And it's just another way of
working his hands.
Fingers, yes. So that's what's mostly in this bucket here. He likes using paints. He really likes using paints, so we'll do paints. This is another place where I just hang up some of his
stuff when he's working.
Awesome. Yeah, I put a bunch of this. Some of this is already put away. We have books over here. And puzzles.
Some puzzles.
Really just anything that
works with him.
Works with him.
His little readers up at the top. Let's see.
And also I made a list of words I know that he knows, which is not in any kind of order and how they teach sight words in school or like for kindergarten, but as I know that he recognizes a word, I'll write that on a note card. And then I have it over here in one of the buckets.
Oh, wrong way. There.
I have it over here in one of the buckets to where
you can have a flashcard
where we can review them.
Oh, nice.
So we can keep it, so we can keep it up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when he learns sight words, it's very random. The word may be very random, but I just
you go with it.
I go with it, and I put it on a card and stick it in here.
Yeah, Lacey plays a game called Teach Your Monster to Read. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yes, I've heard that.
And they call the sight words trickies.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what I call them, even with her curriculum. I said, this is a tricky. And then we still go back and I say, you need to go review your trickies because they trick you.
Into learning, yeah.
I like to trick her into learning, yeah.
Yes.
Whatever works.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
But this is like the main room where we are.
Let's see.
And this is, I like to teach him responsibility too. And so he knows at the end of the day if he wants his Apple Watch charged or his tablet charged, is at a level
he has to plug them in.
It's teaching him some responsibility as well.
Yeah.
Even though he knows he needs lots of assistance, but whatever I can find to help him
be independent and feel
autonomous,
and dignity. Because they want to feel like they're in charge.
Yes. And
my
so
kids want to feel like they're in charge. Most kids are like that.
Yes.
So,
but
I love it.
Basically where we work.
I love it. There's her office.
This is my little desk
she
here.
says that her people take over her space.
Oh my gosh.
I get that. I have people who take over my space all the time. And we're going to come back and sit back down over here. let's see, fix all our stuff up. Because, you know, that's what you do when you record. You have to fix everything up.
Yes.
So, what did you learn this year that could help mamas? What do you think?
Special needs.
Special needs, especially.
I think I learned kind of like what Michelle said, to relax and to just really just to go with the child, follow what they're doing. It's almost like a Montessori type of way, but just if you go with what they're doing, it'll bring peace to everyone. And even though it's not the way they may teach it in school, don't worry about that, because in time your child will be where they need to be. And it's not kind of like what Michelle said, the classical school or the traditional school, it's like a cookie cutter, and it's almost like a one size. They want one size to fit all, but we know that that's not.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is class management. It's not, and it doesn't always translate to the house.
It doesn't, and so just, you know, if you can just stick with what your child is doing, and like even for me at one point we were just working on one thing because seemed like that was all he had capacity for. But amazingly, after the surgeries, when I would think that he may not even have capacity for that, just being consistent and doing one thing, you'll know when your child's ready to slowly add something else. And you can do that. So now he can do several things in a day. Also like the reward system. So maybe if you know that your child likes to watch the iPad, like my child loves the iPad. And so just even in between shows, hey, let's just work on this. It could be a repeat of something that you worked on to help them retain that and to get it in their memory.
Make it. Because children don't learn things just in one shot. You have to do the repeat, and it's important to do that repeat, and you build on it. One thing to remember with IEPs, way back in the day, I was a teacher's assistant, and one thing to remember is when your team, if you're working in public school, if they're giving you an IEP, they're not planning to teach that whole IEP the first week. That is covering the whole year, and a lot of times parents don't realize that, especially if you're distance learning or if you're bringing them home and they've given you a copy of the IEP, which you have the right to have. You don't cover that whole information in 1 week. That's your whole year. It's like, and everything builds on each other, and if you break it down and you just have what you're working on, just that right now, I think mentally it can feel so much easier to handle.
Yes, excuse me.
We had beeping.
Yes. And would you like for me to talk about IEPs?
Tell us some about IEP. She is a wealth of information, and I keep trying to tell her that she needs to eventually be a consultant. She not just for homeschool, but for all special needs parents. This is who you need to talk to, because I have 2 mamas that I feel, really 3 mamas that I really feel that way with. Cindy LaJoy is already a consultant. Then I have a friend named Heather Colson and Tasha. They need to be consultants because they're a wealth of information. But when mamas are that wealth of information, it's because they've been through battles. They've been through hard, and she's had hard. Nick, I don't want to go too in detail, but Nick is severe special needs, and he is a miracle.
He is a miracle.
And I've known them since before he was born, and he just amazes me, and it makes me feel I'm in awe of God. Every time. Every time he accomplished something, I feel like I could cry because I know where it was and what it's come through and how amazing it is. And it's because he has a wonderful mama. God, but also a wonderful mama.
God is so good. God is. Oh my gosh. God is good.
Talk to us about IEPs.
So this past year, I learned a lot about IEPs while I was homeschooling Nick. A couple of things I didn't know that I learned and that I would like to share and empower other parents. with an IEP, a lot of times when you go to an IEP meeting, there's a lot of people present, and just the people being present, and then you as a parent, it can feel very intimidating because they're all. You could look at it like different sides, like they're all from the school, and then it's you, and they're professionals, and it's you.
You almost feel like it's them against me almost.
Yes, even though it's a team. So feel free, and it's your right to go into the meeting and to let them know that you're going to record the meeting. A lot of times, so many things are said during an IEP meeting, and between having a child with special needs, there's just so much going on. I would encourage everyone, just from the very beginning, just go in and say, hey, I'm going to record this meeting. There's so much information we talk about. I like to be able to reflect back on this later so I can remember what we talked about. And there's a couple of reasons why I say to start that from the beginning. And one is for the reason I just said, just so you can reflect on it.
Because it's hard to remember when you're in the middle of it and there's so much going on and so many people talking. Especially if you're like me and you have ADD, you will not remember everything. I mean, because my brain will skip. I would miss things is what I would do.
Well, and sometimes when you leave the meeting and, you sign the IEP, and sometimes they may accidentally forget to put something in that was discussed. And so it's a good way for both parties to kind of hold each other accountable and just be like, oh, this wasn't put in there, or this wasn't put in the minutes. Will you please add this? Because a lot of times in the minutes, they don't put everything you say. And they kind of make the write-up from the minutes, I think, from their perspective. So if there's things that you want in there to be in your child's file, you go over that and make sure, you can hear it again, and you can let them know, hey, please will you add this to the meeting minutes and resend this to everyone on the team. So that's a couple of reasons there. Another reason, if you encounter some difficulty with the team or with the school, you don't, it's a good idea to already be recording the meeting, so then it doesn't look like it's something, it's not as, what is the word I'm looking for? It doesn't feel threatening. And it doesn't feel like it's some type of power move when you come in there and you say, hey, I'm going to be recording all these meetings. You've already been recording all the meetings, so they know that that's just what you do as a parent. And so you also have it just in case something does turn in the way of a legal matter. You already have it recorded, and you just let everybody know up front, hey, I'm recording this.
Because you're not hiding it. You're telling them.
Yes, you're not hiding it. You're telling them.
And then they turn around and say, well, we're going to record too, and that's perfectly fine within.
Yes. Yeah. So if they say they want to record too, that's fine. If they say you cannot record this meeting, it is okay to say, well, then I guess we're not going to have the IEP meeting today. And you can say, it's my right to have this meeting. I want to go back and reflect on this. But if you can go ahead and start your meetings for the year just by doing that, it makes it so much easier if something does become legal, because then you already have some things in place to reflect on anyway.
And one thing is sometimes you need to restate what people say to you, because sometimes what they say is not what you hear. And sometimes what they say might not be what they actually mean. So if you're confused, you can say, okay, this is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
So that you can click, because it's hard when you have all those different people talking to make sure things are clear. I think I've come a long way. When I was a younger homeschool mom, I would have thought the public school was out to get everybody. I'm not saying that I think they're absolutely the most wonderful thing in the world. I didn't say that. But I also don't think people are bad.
Yes.
I think for the most part, teachers are good people. I just think sometimes the system's so big.
Yes, I
think it's so big that sometimes their hands are tied too.
Yes, and so I want to encourage everyone just to be an advocate for your child,
because it's important.
Because it's the school, at the beginning and end of the day, the school is going to be an advocate for themselves
I mean,
Yeah.
so you have to be an advocate for your child. It's okay to say, no, I don't like this. It doesn't mean that you're disagreeable, but it's just you have to speak up for your child. I've also learned that it's okay to get other experts in your child's life. Experts or professionals, meaning doctors, speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, whoever you need that has that plays a role in your child's life. It's okay to get letters from them.
Get their voice in the mix. Yeah.
They can even attend an Iep meeting if you want them to attend. You as a parent can have anybody attend that you want. You just have to let them know, hey, I want these people and this is why.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to help you get if it's going to help you to provide the school understanding of what you're trying to explain, and you feel like that's going to speak to them. It's okay to do all those things. And it's your right to do all those things and to do them with a smile.
Do it with a smile.
Do it with a smile.
From a homeschool perspective, because I've had this conversation this week with a mom. Because your child is special needs or has an IEP, that does not change homeschool law. I talked to a mom this week that thought the school would be able to cause her problems because she wanted to homeschool. Legally, no. They do not own your child. They are not their parent. You as the parent have the right to pull your child out of the school system if that's what you want. I have seen homeschooling, I think it helps by leaps and bounds with most situations. I think it's a very good fit for special needs. That's how I feel. Even I believe Tasha feels that way too.
I do.
So, but also remember that if you need public school, that's fine. It's not bad. But legally, you do have the right to homeschool, and there are no extra hoops that you have to jump through as a special needs parent. And that is something I had to address this week. When you pull them out, the IEP is all. If you have an IEP or diagnosis in place, it's always good to get your records, because the school system may give services, but the thing is when you pull them out, your child is going to be on the bottom of the list. They're going to cover everybody else that is enrolled in the school first, and then they will look at any homeschoolers or private schoolers who may or may not need services. So you're not guaranteed to have services. That's what we're trying to say.
You're not guaranteed, but you should be able.
You should be able to try, and you can ask. From what I've been told, that it's usually it depends on their budget. If they have enough money to go around and there's more left over, then I'm not saying don't try. Definitely try, because legally they're supposed to be able to offer it. It just depends on the money.
It's you're paying tax dollars.
Yeah, because you're paying tax dollars.
And so
it's just
they need a good reason to not offer your child related services such as occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech.
Yeah.
There needs to be a good reason why they can't.
That is a possibility. Just know that you may hear we don't have money in the budget. Whether they do or not, I don't know. I'm not there.
Continue to pursue.
So continue to pursue. So you have that right, because many homeschoolers are confused over that. Grab your IEP, because then if you have your diagnosis and your IEP, you can go to your pediatrician and say, hey, I'm not getting these services at the school system. I want to find a private sector, and then they will work. It brings insurance in there, so you can have some insurance coverage. That will depend on your company and what they offer. Some do, some don't.
With what you're saying, if you go to your pediatrician and talk to them, a lot of times it just takes a letter from the pediatrician
just to get a referral
saying that there's a need for it.
Yeah.
And my experience of this past year has been sometimes doing those things. Like, you may want to do those things from the very beginning, because it lets the school system know that you are serious.
You're
serious
about
for your child.
You're an advocate for your child.
You
want them met.
Yes, you want those needs met. You're also, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what your child needs.
Yeah.
and you're sometimes the traditional school system sees homeschoolers as slackers, and so it just shows that you have your ducks in a row as well, and for some reason they take you more seriously.
Yeah. And I think it's a good thing.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
know that you have resources, and know that you can also pursue the private sector. And neither one's right or wrong. It's just, insurance will take over the private sector.
Yes.
So.
And there was also one more thing I learned this past year. Besides attending several Iep meetings, the last Iep meeting I attended was a facilitated Iep meeting, which was new to the school here. And you can request a facilitated Iep meeting from the very beginning if you feel like that's what you need.
Yeah.
A facilitated Iep meeting just has a third party there that's not on either side, but the third party is, from what I understand, they're sent from the state. They come, they sit in on the Iep meeting, they listen to what both sides are saying, and they reword
so
what each side is saying so that each side can understand.
Communication.
Yes, they help the communication, and then they provide insight into what the two sides can do to meet halfway.
Yeah.
And so it was that a facilitated Iep was what really helped to facilitate Nick going to school when she started the summer, and he went several times this summer, and so that really was a godsend, and it was something new that honestly we all learned about. I didn't know there was a facilitated Iep.
Yeah, that's awesome. But to have so much success. Anyway, so she had a wonderful year.
Yes, it was a great year.
Yeah,
it ended up just
being exactly
better than what better than I could have planned out or anticipated, in spite of all of the obstacles.
Yeah.
So
I know.
God
I
is
think
good.
it's fabulous.
So
Anyway, so we're going to finish up this episode. I have had a wonderful day with my friend Tasha and my new friend Michelle. And we're glad y'all are here. If you have watched all this video, like, comment, subscribe.
yes.
You can have your own homeschool house call. I have them either taped for YouTube, they're free, or you can do a paid one and not be taped. I do both. So just you can send me, let's see, what is it? Devin at homeschoolhousecalls.com. I always forget that email. Devin at homeschoolhousecalls.com.
Yes.
But anyway, I would love to work with you, especially if it's something challenging and it makes me learn something. That's like my jam.
Oh yeah.
I love when I learn stuff. I've enjoyed this year with Tasha and talking through. We've had many conversations,
yes.
And I've learned so much, which I appreciate because I like to learn.
I appreciate you just mentoring me and
being
helping me
together.
as well,
She actually mentors me. What did she say to me earlier? She goes, "Don't skimp on yourself."
Yes.
I am very good about skimping on myself, and I appreciate that. Thank
You're
you.
a very valuable resource.
Thank you.
And yes.
But yeah. So don't skimp on yourself, Mama.
Yes, don't.
Do your self-care
Yes.
and know your worth.
Know
We're
your
gonna
worth, yes.
we'll say bye. We'll talk all day.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye.